Cornell West was on the Piers Morgan show earlier today, and the conversation ended exactly how you would expect a Cornell West on a present day Piers Morgan panel to end. He got frustrated and crashed out and stormed off the show. There was a point in time where Piers Morgan was known for intellectual conversation and conversation that matters. And back in the day, Cornell West would be a fit. He's a scholar. You put Cornell West on the present day Piers Morgan platform, and he's out like he's don't fit in. The platform is for internet trolls. The platform is for race baiters. I, I personally think it's beneath Cornell West to go on a platform that legitimized Lily Gladys. Okay, but the conversation was about Charlie Kirk, and from the panel, we already know the buffoonery that was going to follow. This entire conversation was bad faith. Essentially, the conversation was both sides passing blame on who's to blame for Charlie Kirk's death. Even though we have a killer, we have an assassin, we know the only person on earth who's responsible for Charlie Kirk's death is the person who killed Charlie Kirk. But they're trying to politicize this man's death for whatever motive or propaganda or agenda both sides, both liberals and conservatives have. So it started off with Andrew Wilson blaming Young Turks and other liberal platforms for being a reason why Charlie Kirk is dead, claiming that because they called him a fascist, that right there convinced or brainwashed or indoctrinated his killer into wanting to kill him.
The Young Turks called Charlie Kirk a fascist how many times? The Young Turks played into this rhetoric how much? They went out of their way to do so. Reuben recently called him out for doing it.
So I just called him a fascist.
Hang on.
I've literally never. I don't even call Trump a fascist.
I didn't interrupt you once, lady.
But you can't make things up about what I've said about Charlie Kirk.
You can talk when I'm done talking, like I was respectful enough to let you do. So the thing is like, yes, they do. This network does do that, and these leftists do that. And they set all the rhetoric up in the world to make sure something like this happened, and they were dancing on the grave of this guy before he was even cold. I have tweets from Destiny which are insane. The leftists have gone off the reservation. And it's time for us to stop pretending that it's not their rhetoric which is leading to these types of assassinations, because it is. I don't want to hear about factions. All of you guys are doing this. All of you guys have the same type of rhetoric which leads to this, or the networks you work for do.
There used to be a point in time, and we're probably so far gone, y'all don't even remember, that we actually engaged in good faith conversations. Nowadays, it's nothing but bad faith actors, bro, who are going on these shows and just saying things in bad faith, looking for a moment, or looking to galvanize whatever support they can galvanize surrounding their personal channel. This doesn't make sense whatsoever, and it's just stupid. Since when do we start to blame people for giving opinions? Since when? So now it's TYT's fault because TYT had opinions about Charlie Kirk that wasn't favorable. So now it's their fault that this maniac left his house to go kill Charlie Kirk? If this is the case, then shut down podcasting. Shut down YouTube channels. Shut down news stations. Shut down everything now, bro. If we're going to start blaming people for giving opinions, and then we say, hey, because you gave a bad opinion, you are the reason why somebody died, then shut it all down, man. Then we're not allowed to criticize anybody, because apparently that can lead to somebody dying. But don't act like this is a one-sided thing, bro. People like Andrew Wilson have called out all other podcasters, and he has given rhetoric like, yo, they're supporting the government coming and snatching up your kids and cutting off their private parts. Rhetoric like this exists on both sides. Just like how the right will push the rhetoric that the left is trying to take away your babies and indoctrinate them and get their privates snipped off. It's the same way the left is saying, hey, bro, these people are racist, they're neo-Nazis, they're fascists, they're trying to take away the elect. It happens on both sides. So to then say, because Charlie Kirk passed away, that now is the TYT's fault, is Cornel West's fault, is everybody's fault other than the person who actually shot and killed Charlie Kirk.
Oh, there's no actual reason for us to believe leftists at this point. It's very clear that while they come out with a handshake and wanting to have these conversations, they claim, right? In reality, what they're doing is they have murderous intent, and they'll celebrate you the day that you die. The next day, they'll go after your wife. thousands of social media accounts going after her wife, or this guy's wife, after she made a speech about her poor husband. Yes, it is your side that's doing that. Like it or not, it's your side that's doing that. There's no equivalency between the right and the left on this.
So then Piers Morgan decided he was going to piggyback off of what Andrew Wilson said and then proposed a question to Cornel. Now, I'm going to say this. If Andrew Wilson and Anna wants to go back and forth like in his mustling and lowbrow conversation, cool. But I think even asking somebody as intellectual as Cornel this question is beneath him and it's insulting. Because what do you mean? Like, am I responsible for Charlie Kirk's death because I said some things about Charlie Kirk when he was alive?
Ever since Donald Trump came into power in 2016, has been this relentless use of the phrases Hitler, Nazis, fascists about Trump and about Trump supporters. And the problem with constantly saying this as a group, as the woke left have done for 9 years now, is that eventually it permeates down to young, impressionable minds who genuinely believe that it is their mission to stop America from being taken over by the new Nazis or the new fascists or the new Hitler. And that leads to the kind of thing we saw with Charlie Kirk. Do you agree that this language, this relentless, in my view, woeful misuse, particularly of the word Nazi, towards Trump and his supporters, this is part of the problem?
Well, I think part of the deeper problem, though, Brother Pierce, is that the organized greed and weaponized hatred and routinized indifference toward the vulnerable has come together in such a way that it has eroded the sources of character formation, so that integrity, honesty, decency, and self-critical sensibilities of individuals and groups is more and more disappearing. So you end up with because hatred itself is promiscuous, just like greed, just like indifference toward the suffering of others. It's promiscuous. It will lie with the left, right, center. It lies with Christians. It lies with Muslims. It lies with Jews. It lies with Buddhists. It lies with Hindus. And human beings were so wretched in the first place. If we don't undergo some kind of spiritual and moral cultivation, we end up falling back on greed and hatred and indifference. And I mean, the American empire at this moment is one in which the lethal combination of the hatred and the greed and the indifference generates very much the exchange that we just saw. You see, this brother right here says, well, all leftists want to see me dead. Well, I'm a leftist. I don't want to see you dead. I'm a Christian.
You called Trump's administration a neo-fascist movement, you lunatic.
I'm probably the most moderate person I know. So to pull Andrew Wilson to where I'm at would be too big of a task. So let me just meet Andrew Wilson to where he's at. Andrew, if you're saying that Cornell or other liberals, they're responsible for Charlie Kirk passing away because they call the Trump administration and people around Trump Nazis. If that's your take, I'm going to meet you where you're at because I have no reason to believe that you're not telling the truth. Then otherwise, would Donald Trump be responsible for Nancy Pelosi's husband being attacked or those two Democrats getting killed because he refers to Joe Biden and other Democrats as Marxist and communist? Of course he wouldn't be. Of course Donald Trump is not to blame for Nancy Pelosi's husband being attacked. Of course, no. That's not how this works. That's not how opinions work. We are allowed to give our opinion about anybody we want to give it, including Donald Trump. And if anybody says Donald Trump is responsible for harm being committed on Nancy Pelosi's husband, I'll say you are an idiot. Just like I would say, Andrew Wilson, you are an idiot for placing blame on anybody else other than the shooter and the actual killer. You can't have it both ways, man. You can't say Donald Trump isn't responsible for violence against Democrats, but then say that people who have opinions on Republicans are responsible for violence against Republicans. It doesn't make sense. And it's backwards and it's hypocritical. You have to be logically consistent here. Now, Cornell West tries to engage, but Andrew Wilson just tried to overtalk him, and it went all bad.
People have gone out
You're
of your
absolutely
way.
right.
You have gone out of your way.
No, let me make the
to
case.
Do everything
let me make the case.
This.
Let me make the case.
Oh, yeah,
Will you allow me to speak, brother? Come on, man. Come on. No, you haven't made the case. If you think I've made the case, then you're not interested in dialogue.
You just said this brother over here said this.
You're very, very different than Brother Charlie, man. You're very different than Charlie, though, man. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I can make a case for that,
people
too.
like you that got that man killed, sir.
No. There are such a thing as neo-fascists. But Pierce, why you have a brother on who's not going to allow nobody to speak, man? We're just wasting time. If all you're interested in is making your money, and you bring this brother on it, and nobody can say a word, and we can't even mourn Brother Charlie passing. I had dialogues with Brother Charlie. This brother's going to say, oh, this kumbaya and so forth. No. Charlie was made in the image of a loving and mighty God. I believe that. I say my prayers for Sister Erica and the kids because this brother wants to trash my Christian sensibility. And look at him laughing now. It's a joke, man. Pierce, it's not worth it.
This is one of those times where you are just picking a fight to pick a fight. Cornell is actually on the moderate side of things when it comes to this Charlie Kirk situation. He says, I was praying for Charlie Kirk. I'm praying for his family. I'm praying for his wife. He's not one of those freaks who was celebrating his death. So for you to even try to push the issue with him is it's mute. You got to save this much pushback for somebody like Destiny, who eventually joins the call, by the way. But I just don't understand where Andrew Wilson was taking it. It kind of feels like Andrew Wilson was arguing just to argue, which is why, to be honest, I kind of stopped watching Andrew Wilson debates. I don't really tap in or tune in anymore. I have no personal problem against Andrew Wilson, but there's just so many times that I could turn on a debate, and instead of seeing Andrew Wilson engage with the idea, he tries to take slick way out to win. For example, you can say, yo, the sky is blue. Andrew Wilson will say, well, can you define the? And you'll say, huh? What? Well, listen, man, if you can't define the, then how do we know what the sky means or what it's like, bro, I'm not trying to sit through no debate where, bro, you trying to iron out how to define the and semantics for 5 hours, bro. That's what he does, which is why I just stopped watching completely. But in this situation, man, he just tried completely and over-talked, was acting smug, and Cornell just left. Completely abandoned, ditched, and walked off.
Is Charlie Kirk part of the neo-fascist movement?
Not with this brother.
Is he part of your neo-fascist movement?
Not with this brother.
Yeah.
When Charlie himself says that he is against Civil Rights Act, does that make him a proponent of Jim Crow? When he calls Martin Luther King Jr. an awful human being and a scumbag? I'm critical of that. I am critical of that. You're absolutely right, Brother Wilson. You're absolutely right. But if all you're going to do is be arrogant, you're arrogant just like the so-called leftists you're talking about. But Pierce, you making your money, brother. Go on and make your money, man.
It's all about making.
Not worth it.
Cornel,
this brother
it's all about
here
making
is
money.
part of the problem. This other brother who has a deep connection to Charlie, he's willing to at least listen. But this brother's not willing to listen.
Cornel, can you sit down? I would like you to remain part of the debate.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. He's smoking his cigarettes with his arrogant self. Come on, man. We don't have enough dialogue at all.
Surely you're not going to walk out in a debate about dialogue.
Go on and make your money, man.
Right. Well, there's a kind of farcical to quit a debate where we're literally debating about the importance of free speech.
You can't take the side of free speech while also taking the same side of these opinions got Charlie killed and these people need to be blamed for exercising their free speech and giving opinions. You don't get to talk on both sides of your mouths, man. And honestly, I'll be real. Now, do I support Cornell just walking up? I'll be real. I support him not joining in the first place, bro. This is not a space for intellectual, highbrow conversation. This is for race baiting. This is for getting a moment. This is for clout chasing. That's what the Piers Morgan panel has been regulated to. But y'all let me know. How do y'all feel about this, okay? Do y'all feel like Cornell had a point? Did Andrew Wilson have a point? Let me know in the comments section what you think, all right? And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen to find out how Charlie Kirk's death just started a civil war between these two podcasters. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.